one separate mechanism with no nervous system, no heartbeat, no intention, set at different moments, becoming one. Has to start somewhere. This is how you control groups. This is how you influence juries. This is reliable. What's that?
One still off.
Watch. This would be the one that goes to jail. Because by definition, if you're not doing what everybody else is, you're antisocial. Or from San Francisco. It can't not happen. Okay? But what do we do with it? How do we leverage it? Well, you already started. You've already started by understanding that your breathing, your posture, and your physiology generate the emotional or the energetic signature, the emotional frequency you're sending out to the universe. The sender is your heartbeat. If we just go basic, what we can prove right here, right now, all metaphysics aside, we can prove this. So what do we do with it? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to do exactly what those metronomes did. We have to entrain. We have to synchronize our neurology with the neurology of another person and know that we have it. This is, you can call this coherence if you like. You'll hear me refer to it interchangeably as coherence. You'll also hear me refer to it as kinesthetic rapport. Okay? When I talk about kinesthetic rapport, I often use the shorthand, that, Circle K. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Sorry, I had a Bill and Ted moment, it's over now. Right. Yes. Kinesthetic rapport is where we start. From this moment forward, nothing you do happens before you have this. Now this is different. Now a lot of people in the NLP world, the persuasion and influence world, when they talk about rapport, they say, well, just assume rapport. No. That presupposes you know what rapport feels like. You'll never see anything more funny than a brainwashed speed seducer trying to assume rapport and then mumbling through a script and then getting slapped. Right? Because their trainers told them, well, just assume rapport and you'll have it. No. When you have absolute kinesthetic rapport, you can have actual kinesthetic rapport with a person and they can actually be fighting with you. Good warriors, good martial artists do this all the time. Right? Come here, Zaxter.
Setting it up for him.
Only because he can fall really hard and not get hurt.
It's not good, you're getting like negative suggestions, which...
And again, this is a physical demonstration of something we're going to be doing. The neurology cannot resist itself. Right? If he, no, sorry, relax. I'm not going to hit you. Yeah. Right? So if he grabs me, cross-wrist grab, this way, right? And I try to move him. I try to make him fall. That ain't working too well. But he's got a posture. Right? If I just become him, he falls down.
Missed.
Because he really tried.
He tried.
He really tried. As he grabs me, if I relax, and I stand the way he stands. See my feet?
He's more pissed.
You also broke his structure.
Well, I did, but actually he broke it for me.
Yeah.
Because if I just become him, we're not two people anymore, right? So actually what I did here was I paced him. Pace, lead. Right? If he grabs, I'll just show off a little bit. Right? If he grabs me, I can't move him.
Oh, chilly.
Why did you do that? Because you didn't come here. And you didn't get.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Just in a different way. So, it's subtle. It's subtle. Right? This is not a martial arts demo, but these are the same principles that we're using. Here, a little bit. Don't step on that. And I work with, and Zach is actually much harder to work with than most people because he's hyper flexible.
Oh!
Oh.
There was a suggestion we didn't need. But the interesting thing is, you have this, if you look at the structure here, where are we both standing? We're both standing on the planet, right? If I drop my energy, 160 some pounds of David goes into the earth. And Mother Earth says, have that back. So what I'm doing, if I try to move him, I'm not getting anywhere. Because I have to send the energy through him, not against him. His bones and his structure are designed to conduct energy. So if you watch my fingers, if I do this, it's much harder for me to control him. But if I align, this is rapport. This is what we would call Aiki, which is another way of saying rapport.
But it's something that you do, like something we did before we had to change our physiology? No.
This is physiology,
Okay.
right? It's not my mind moving him, or is it? It's a key.
It's both.
Right? It's integration. So one of the things that happens here, again, I have to learn how to allow energy to move. I have to feel everything. Now you guys do this all the time, you don't realize it. Every time you get in the car and drive, your proprioceptive awareness expands to include your car. That's why you can always feel when somebody's too damn freaking close to you or in your blind spot without looking in the mirror. Or you feel it, you look in the mirror and you see them there. Because what literally happens when you step inside that car, your nervous system says, oh, we're part of something larger now. And your awareness expands. Everything about what we do works along these same principles. If I try to fight Zach, well, now we're two machines fighting and the stronger machine wins. He's bigger than me, right? But, and I've got guys twice his size in class I throw around like rag dolls. And lol.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I understand conductivity, if I understand rapport, not just within myself, but I have to be integral within myself. Milton Erickson used to say, your clients will be your clients because they're out of rapport with their unconscious mind. There's a part of them that wants one thing, and another part that wants something else, and they're doing this. And the stronger part wins. We have to integrate.
The bear hug one's really good.
That's sorry going farther than I wanted to. And thank you, Zach. Give me a round of applause. So what you saw with the cross-hand demo, and his posture wasn't as profound, as pronounced as I would have liked it, but it was close enough. It was good enough. When I'm like this, even though I'm matching him, or maybe mirroring him, we're not the same, right? We're not the same. But the minute I become as much like him, even oriented in the same direction. Didn't we say that about emotions too? Somebody's angry, we get angry at what? In the same direction they're going. And resistance goes away. Right? The moment I take on the physiology of another human being, I have the skeleton key to seeing what's going on inside. It's that profound. Now, you're not there yet, but you will be. This is where you start. These are practices. These are drills that only train your nervous system to exert influence. But you have to start somewhere. You have to be willing to suck. Right? That's the problem, is most of us aren't willing to suck. You're already going to suck. I like it already. You're already going to suck far less than you think. Because it's about feeling, right? So the idea is to go back to pacing and leading. Pacing and leading, pacing and leading. Pacing in our world has a much broader and deeper understanding than it is in most other contexts. Okay? And we'll get into that. But going back to the metronome metaphor. When I am, let me see. Sharon, come on up here. They told me to pick you. See how I asked for volunteers, right? Okay, good. So, this is the lovely Sharon, right? And so, one of the things that, remember that the level of influence that we're working at, nothing we're going to do from this point on happens until we have the circle K, kinesthetic rapport. But how do we know when we have it? She's already there. Damn it. What happens is when the metronomes get within proximity of each other, they start doing this. And they start, there we go. Feel it? There's a feeling that comes over the body. A synchronization. Now this has happened, you've experienced this feeling many times. Right? I can make it deeper if you want, it's all right. All right. You've experienced this many times spontaneously out in the world. You've met someone and you just fell into that click, right? You can engineer this. You can cause it to happen. In fact, it can't not happen. It can't not happen. Once you have it, any state change I undergo, her body will follow. She's trying to fight it, can't, right? That's how it works. Thank you. Give her a big round of applause. Who checks it now? Right?
So I'm just curious, like, when you do that, is there any, do you feel like a heart connection to her?
Oh, hell yeah. I can feel her entire body.
So you use the
But
open
do you
heart,
visualize
trust.
it first and then feel
I don't
it?
visualize anything. This is not something you make happen.
So you feel.
This is something you allow to happen and then begin the next step when you sense it. Now, you don't need to make her sway like I did. I didn't actually make her sway. I swayed, she followed. Understand that? Because at that level, her neurology and mine are the same. Even if she doesn't consciously know it. There's a firewall, it's called a limit, between your conscious awareness, your conscious mind, and the rest of you. And the only way around it is through the body. Yes?
So, is it mostly just through state control exercises that you attain this?
Mostly, yeah.
So you did the open heart trust?
I didn't have to do that either.
So what did you do then?
All I did was nothing except have an intention to allow this metronomes to synchronize and wait for the sensation. When you felt that click, did you feel describe what you felt? She's high. Right? What was it like for you?
I don't know, it's just like we're one,
Yeah. Right.
basically.
Usually what happens is there's a sensation you get, and it varies from person to person, but I usually feel like a relaxation, like there's a sigh that happens, and sometimes there's a flushing and warmth that starts in the abdomen. Some people feel it around their face. Really, this is where I can't tell you what to feel. There's going to be a sensation, and it's going to be a very consistent sensation.
What do you mean, allow it to happen?
Yeah,
You
just wait for it. If you try to make it happen, you're going to block it.
But you're opening up your heart just to relax or
You're
something?
just going to relax. You're just going to get in your space. We start close off because that's where we have the most amplitude at first. As we become more sensitized to these processes, we can do it from across the room. Anything in line of sight, zap. Over Skype, boom.
Skype.
Yeah, I do. Over half my sessions are through Skype. I zap people with this shit all the time. Okay? That's a little too far outside of people's plausibility zones to even worry about. Let's be practical. Let's deal with the people in the room before we deal with the people around the planet.
Okay, but the question people keep asking is how do you get that kinesthetic rapport that she follows you? And I think you've already said it. So the intent has to be good.
Intent, set it and forget it. The secret to this is you have to wait for it.
But your intent, whoever you're with, they have to feel your intent is good.
Not necessarily.
And then you can connect.
Not necessarily. You gotta understand, you're making this harder than it. That's the problem with this particular exercise, is it's so fucking simple. We have to make it hard.
So you're just saying standing by somebody in their space.
Standing by somebody with an
With
intention to
intention.
connect and allowing it to happen and noticing the sensation change in your body when it does, without trying to force it, coerce it, or make it happen faster. Now, what will happen as a result of that is once your neurology, once your unconscious mind realizes you want access to this information, it will start to happen faster and faster. Now, here's what I don't want you to do. If I have Sharon up here and we've got kinesthetic rapport, I don't want to go like a pushing energy or fireballs from Dragon Ball Z into her. That's going to drain your energy. It's going to activate your willpower centers, and you're going to wind up pushing energy, and this nervous system is actually going to fight back with that. Right? The art of Sistema, Russian martial arts, teaches us non-resistance. A lot of our Asian martial arts are based in this idea of applying a hold on somebody, and then from a superior position, we muscle them into the ground because the act of fighting us actually adds more energy to our lock. Russian martial arts, we'll walk right out of that shit because we don't fight the attack. Right? My wife called me an asshole the other day because I went into a jiu-jitsu seminar and basically destroyed 30 years of jiu-jitsu training in 10 minutes.
Again?
You didn't hear about that?
No. Come on.
To quote my wife, you killed their god, you asshole. Something along those
How many
lines.
times? Come on.
I sat on it for 6 years. You were there. I sat on it.
Yes, you did.
I developed a system many years ago derived from Aikido Jiu-Jitsu and Russian martial arts. For basic, it's called the Universal Escape Formula. Get you out any hold. Doesn't matter what the hold.
I think I saw a video you shared not long ago where you do like micro movements and you just...
I did, yeah, that was part of it. But the look of fear and frustration on their face was classic. Yeah, I'm still an asshole. But anyway, here's what you're going to do now. Yes.
I just had a question about that kinesthetic rapport. So are you saying that you could do that to like someone you're standing in line to pay?
Do it all the time.
Are you serious?
I do it on traffic.
So that would they have to like turn around and look at you or feel like a certain
Depends on
way?
what I want.
Oh, okay.
Depends on what I want.
All right.
So, when you
expand on
I can get interesting though, right?
Huh?
had she moved, would you have moved? Or were you more in the driver's seat?
It's possible I would have moved if she had been conscious of or knew she could do that. It's a two-way path, which is what happens when I'm up here with Zach. In a real combat situation, I'm adapting as he adapts. It's a chess match, right? The person with the most sensitivity and flexibility, adaptability wins. It's no different here. Rapport is a game. It's a game of give and take. You're not always leading. Sometimes you're receiving, sometimes you're following. Because you need to go where they want to go before you can take them where you want to take them.
So you can transfer negative or positive feelings or energy?
Yes. Yes. I don't like to do negative feelings because I have to generate them in me, and I don't like to feel icky. Your body doesn't do well with negative feelings, although you do that more often than not. Right? So this is your next drill.
I need to ask a question.
Uh-oh.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, appreciate your concept, appreciate the point that you're making when somebody's angry, you go with their anger before you break it. So, do you get angry as they do, or you accept and acknowledge their anger? I mean, you don't...
You do both. You accept, acknowledge your anger, and you get angry about what they're angry about.
Are you mimicking or mirroring them the way they...
In a way you are, but you're actually creating an alliance with them. This is the story I was going to tell you about Kenrick Cleveland. Kenrick, before he became the persuasion god that he is, ran a health club. A lot of people on roids walking around. You know, people on juice aren't always the most stable, right? Not the most even-tempered sometimes. So there was one particular guy, big bodybuilding champion. One day, Kenrick's at the front desk. He comes storming out of the men's room. He goes, "God damn it! There is no toilet paper in the men's room!" And Kenrick's sitting there looking at this monster. And he's thinking, okay, NLP, don't fail me now. He looks up at the guy and goes, there's no toilet paper in the men's room? God damn it! You're a paying customer, you're in good faith, you come here every day, you deserve to have toilet paper in the men's room. The guy goes, hold on a minute, calm down. And they created an instant friendship. And he got his toilet paper. A couple of days later, another roid head walks in. And, counter was working in the front. You know how in the old days, I don't know if they still do it, you have a membership card, you got to slide through it, you don't get in. The guy didn't have his membership card. The guy reaches across and grabs Kenrick and pulls him across, I'm not living a little bit, pulls him across that desk and is about to do something evil. And all of a sudden this even bigger hand reaches across them and grabs the other guy. He goes, he's my friend, you leave him alone. And the guy grabbed and kind of goes, it's all right, I didn't know he was your friend. Right? That's how fast rapport can create alliance. Okay? Pacing is the key to rapport. Rapport is the key to everything else. On the physiological level, on the neurological level, on the emotional level, on the vibrational level. It's the secret to everything. The question becomes, do you have an integrated system that's capable of tapping into and utilizing that phenomena? That's what you're learning. And can you do it in a fast, easy, effective, practical, fun way? Because if it's not fun, you ain't gonna fucking do it. So have fun with it. Be playful. Right? The more playful you become, the more power you have. So you're going to get a partner. And all you're going to do is, we're going to call this exercise is called gross physiology. Not to be confused with gross anatomy, which is a entirely different class. People always laugh at that. I'm still trying to figure out why, and that's not that smart. The idea here, let me use Arnell for this real quick. You can do this sitting or standing. I prefer you do it standing. All right, let me sit, sorry. Doesn't matter. Come on. All right. And what you want to do is you want to approximate their physiology. Okay? That's all you want to do. And there he goes. Okay? You can feel it when it kicks in, right? Remember, he's walking around in a very large, very extensive organic antenna. You guys remember the old rabbit ear antennas? Right? And every time, the ones without the tinfoil, right? Because it was all broken and shit, right? Some of the older guys in here are like, oh, I remember that shit. That's right. He's trying to do it to me. But, but the thing is that the configuration of the antenna either accesses more signal or it sends out a signal differently. His physiology has a configuration that has a vibrational signature connected to it. If I assume that same physiology, my frequency entrains faster. Right? It entrains faster. And there's a shift when that happens. It happened almost within seconds as soon as he came up here. But it happens even faster when we approximate physiology. Now we'll get more subtle as time goes on. But what I want you to get, and what I want you to zero in on, is noticing when that synchronization of the nervous systems takes place. Because there is a physical sensation in the body that is repeatable and consistent when it happens.
Do you have to be on the side of the person?
I prefer to be on the side, but I don't have to be. I could be right in front of him, I can be behind him. It doesn't matter where I'm at, ultimately. But we keep our exercises, stop it. We keep our exercises, simple so we can calibrate and build on it. Right? None of this is to be taken on faith. None of it. It's based on the phenomena you generate on a consistent level. That make sense? All right. Questions?
So to start this, I've seen that you've taken on his posturing and then you move. And he follows you.
That's called pacing and leading.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
that's how you begin, is taking
well,
on his.
that's just a visual example. Don't let the obsession with making that happen delude you. I can just change the feelings in my body.
Yeah.
Okay? and I can cause a mirroring effect within his neurology, which is a state change, not a posture or physiology change.
Wow.
Okay, I'm showing you something you can see, but it's also happening at levels you can't see. And that's modulated by the feeling shifts in your body. Who was here none of you were here in Vegas when I did gave the woman the orgasm through her eyes?
Was it last summer?
You were there.
Yeah,
The
but
blonde girl, remember I brought her up, I went in through the little meridian and moved the energy up my...
she was the older one
The
who
blonde
was.
lady, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there, you saw that.
She was sitting on my right,
Yeah.
couple rows up. Yeah.
Yeah. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. This is the foundation for that. Right? There are many ways to access the neurology of another human being. Yes?
Are you focusing your energy there, or are you focusing your energy in a 360-degree arc around?
I'm not focusing my energy at all.
Your awareness.
It's just awareness.
Your awareness, is it just
I
there?
expand my awareness to include him.
Is it a sphere, or is it...
Doesn't
Yes.
matter. Don't get hung up in that crap. What matters is what you feel. Have an intention to connect, wait for it to happen. When you feel it, ask if they felt it, they'll either say yes or no. It doesn't matter what you feel as long as you feel it change. That's what's important at this point. Yes?
So when you're in direct rapport with him, then you must somewhat know what he's thinking as well.
It starts to happen.
Yeah.
The longer you stay in this holographic space, this entrainment, the more the neurology will start to line up.
So say if he thinks of a dream that he had.
I won't necessarily get, I would get feelings and emotions. I won't necessarily get the exact
Images?
thing. This is not telepathy.
Yeah.
There's an interesting actually video by Darren Brown where he shows two people that he has like match and mirror
Mhm.
their actions for like, I don't know, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. He cuts through. And then he has them just stand in front of each other. One is just really projecting a memory of some past experience he's had, and the other is just receiving. And the guy literally, he goes as far as to like this was a memory in kind of a subway station, and he even sees the yellow line, you know, on the ground, and he feels the feelings. So it's like,
Again, I respect Darren Brown, but remember, he's an entertainer
yeah,
who's paid to deceive you.
yeah.
That's what he does. He does have, he even lied about training with Richard Bandler. He said he never studied NLP, so Richard goes into the files, pulls out the licensing agreement with Darren's picture on it, right, and shows everybody. Darren Brown is an entertainer. Doesn't mean he doesn't have skills. But everything you see on YouTube or on television, you have to remember, you don't know how contrived it is. You don't know how many times it had to go through something that didn't work to get one flute that did. You don't know who's the shill and who isn't. You don't know what kind of priming Darren did with his nonverbals ahead of time to print both of those images into the minds of the people, because you can do all of those things. Right? So, again, I respect what Darren Brown does. He's a great entertainer, he's a great professional. But let's not necessarily aspire to trick people. If that's what you want to do professionally or for fun, street hypnosis, walk-up mentalism, I have no problem with that. Right? But let's generate legitimate phenomena. And does that mean, and I've had experiences similar to what Arnaud is describing, where we've gone into such profound rapport that other people start picking up other people's imagery. It's not uncommon, but that's not the goal. It will happen. As you develop your neurology, your intuition will go on overdrive, which is why you need to understand state control first.
Okay, so what you're basically saying, what you were showing so everybody could see, is that you could posture somebody and they could follow you in a physical
If I can do it with their
Or you
physiology, I can very easily do it with the subtler parts of their experience.
And so then you can have emotions that you would want them to join with you too.
Because
Like
it,
excitement, sadness,
Yep.
anger, power.
Yep.
And so
Any-
they will pick up on that too,
Mhm.
if you make conscious choice that I want you to connect with me.
if I'm already connected and I go into that state myself, their
They
neurology will
will
start
do
to
the
mirror the
same
state automatically. It's not a projective effect, it's a radiant effect. It's moving out 360 by 360 degrees. The fact that I'm more closely entrained with this system means it'll pick it up faster.
Can you do it in a group?
Yes, I'm doing it now. When I start doing the polarity drills, you'll really feel it. Okay? That's why the circle diagram is so important. If you go down the string, you have the critical path of influence. But the circle within circle concentric diagrams tells you how to go from global influence to very specific influence. Everything in the first 3 levels, anyone within the sound of your voice or line of sight is affected. As you move beyond that, the influence you get, you exert, gets progressively more powerful, but progressively more targeted to an individual or specific group of individuals who share the same processes and criteria and values. So by definition, as that power concentrates, it excludes people who don't fit. Understand? So understanding the diagram of this model, I can exert global influence on a room, or a group of people, or I can chunk it down to one person and hyper accelerate and amplify that level of influence. Questions?
This seems to be specific while using a larger technique. Because you're syncing up with one person basically, and by the same token, you're saying that this is sort of a global
It
effect.
can be.
Okay.
It can be. I'm targeting him, but all of you are connected.
So if you're not like aware enough and you can have other people influence you, if you're like just opening yourself.
Oh yeah, this is happening to you all the time. All the time. You're being buffeted every minute of every day by people throwing their shit at you without realizing they're doing it.
The same thing happens when you go to a meeting, for example. When you go to team meetings, as I go, and you know certain individuals will come and they're in the beachy mood.
Yeah, it infects everybody, right? It rips just like the metronomes, right? So here's what you're going to do. 3 groups of, 3 by 3. You're going to just stand, just like you saw me do with Sharon and Arnaud. You're just going to stand, approximate their physiology. It doesn't have to be exact. And just wait for it.
What do you mean approximate physiology? You match how they posture? Is that what it is?
Yeah, and just wait for it. And you'll feel it. Don't try to, and don't look for it. That's the other thing. The minute we try to look for it, we block it. Because we're looking over here, it's coming over here. Right? When you focus your attention in a certain direction, it's like a spotlight, you exclude everything else.
Well, I get the point that you're waiting for it, but are you asking the person who's maybe matching the other person's physiology that you are consciously bringing up a feeling and see if they will?
But we're not there yet.
You're not there. So
We're
you
not
just
at
wanna
state
just
projection
stand
yet.
beside them and see
We want
what you feel.
we want to isolate the kinesthetic rapport trigger.
Okay.
Because we don't begin anything else until we have it.
So waiting for and just wait for what you're feeling about that other person.
Yeah.
Whatever that
And
is.
do this with as many people in this room as many times as you can. Because you have to get over that stranger anxiety. This is one of the most practical exercises you will ever do. When you walk up to people and you can just connect instantly with them, that's a superpower. Then you leverage it. Follow me? Big deal. Very big deal. But it's fun. It's easy, actually. This was the very first language your body ever learned, your body ever knew. You practiced it in the womb. Okay? You just have to remember it. Go.
Okay.
Let's take 20 minutes for this.
Only thing we're doing is noting when it happens.
Yes. Break state, move on to somebody else. Get confirmation. Don't fantasize. Get actual verbal confirmation that you feel it and that other person feels it. Okay?
So important. You want to
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to.